up? I got Naskin here with me. This ain't a diss song, but yeah, you know what it is. I'm a cheesehead, y'all niggas cheese whiz. Pittsburgh Steelers, that's nothing. That Super Bowl ring, that's nothing. Pull up in your town when you.
Obviously, you've had a lot of openers. Is this one any different just because of the newness factor, or is this just another opener for you?
No, I mean, it's just another opener. This will be our third time playing, I think, in the opening game of the season. Obviously, it's a different week. The shortness of it, usually getting, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday after the last preseason game off. Obviously, we're here. We've been working, so that's different. But no, it's just another normal week for us, and excited about starting the season out in Chicago.
What was your reaction this spring when you first heard of Packers Bears for the season opener? You know the significance of the anniversary of these franchises are?
I think it's pretty fitting, considering it's the oldest rivalry in the game. We've played each other, so many times, 90 something times over the course of our histories. It was always big Chicago against little Green Bay, and we've held our own over the years, and it's always been a great rivalry. It's one of the special ones in the history of professional sports. Obviously, a lot of great players and great names on both sides have played in this game, and it's fun to be a part of it now for, this is my 23rd time, I think.
Do you expect the Bears' defense to look much different with Chuck versus Vic? Obviously, it's a lot of the same guys.
Well, they haven't played much in the preseason, so I'm sure you guys can write a story about that. But no, I mean, it's a great, they have great personnel, great players, a lot of depth, big names, and guys without a big name who are really good players. Obviously, it starts, up front, being able to protect and try and control the line of scrimmage and slow those guys down. Obviously, they added a great young linebacker to the mix last year in Smith. They got a couple Alabama boys on the back end with Eddie and now Haha, and very solid corners who are veteran players now. We played against them for a number of years now. It's a great defense. There's not any holes in it, and I think whether it's Vic calling it or Coach Pagano, there's a lot of things you can do with that personnel.
Aaron, what was it like going through the actual game plan with Matt and Nate and Luke, and what did you learn about maybe Matt and this offense in that process for this game?
We had gone through a similar preparation before my back tightened up on me in week 2, so I got used to the type of preparation we do on a Monday or on a Tuesday. As a quarterback, you're in every day, so that you're working through the plan with them, and any creative ideas you have, you bring them to the table. But it's a very collaborative process, and it's been good to kind of see all the entirety of the offense in now, and just kind of trying to figure out what we want to put in for this week.
What do you like in a script to start a game? Is there anything you're looking for in particular?
I'm not going to tell you, Rob.
Okay, in a general sense, is there certain things that you want to? I just want to make sure that I'm comfortable with, whether it's something in the first, 10 or 15 or whatever. Is there anything that you?
That's pretty game plan specific there, Rob. So I'm not going to answer that question, but just reiterate the fact that it is a very creative process. There's great collaboration. You have a lot of guys in the room who have been a part of calling plays. Obviously, Matt has. Nate has for a long time. Getsy was offensive coordinator last year in college. So it's a great collaborative process.
Aaron, the trend is to limit preseason snaps, throughout the league, but I'm sure you're obviously comfortable, or you've been around. But I mean, just going up against this defense, game speed, week 1, is that making it an even more difficult challenge or adjustment to go from nothing to full speed?
Well, it's not nothing. You're going against your own defense at full speed every day in practice.
Game speed reps.
Well, yeah, I mean the game speed is obviously a step above the practice speed, but it wouldn't matter who you're playing. That's the National Football League. It's it's a fast game and things happen quickly. You have to rely on your training, your experience in these situations. again, most of those guys haven't played a lot in the preseason either. So it's going to be, both teams trying to get accustomed to the speed of the offense and the defense, and who can adjust quickest and make the least amount of mistakes. But, again, I go to the 11 season. We start out the season playing New Orleans. Everybody was talking about how there was a lockout. So, the game is going to be way down. The fundamentals aren't there. The performance is going to be way off. And I threw 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, and we won the game, 42-35, I think. This is National Football League, and there's great players on both sides. We'll both be ready to play, and I expect the product to be good.
Wouldn't you have thrown more touchdown passes, though, had you had some workouts in 11 with your receivers during the offseason while they locked out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a story that you can write, I'm sure. But, look, I will say this. If we go out and we struggle, it has nothing to do with playing meaningless reps in the preseason. I really believe that. It's not. You're not facing a ton of game-like situations in the preseason. If we go out and light it up, it's not because we rested in the preseason. Our performance will be based on our preparation this week, our experience, and the way that we execute on the field. And same for them. If they go out and play great, again, their offense or their defense, play great on one side of the ball or play bad on one side of the ball. It's about execution in an intense environment, first game of the year, and we'll be ready to play, and we hope we can execute against a really good defense.
Aaron, the Bears' defense without Mac was actually pretty good a couple of years ago. How does the addition of Mac kind of change the dynamic from your perspective as a quarterback?
Well, there's a few players in the league who you really have to account for on every single snap, and adding him to a group that already has a great pass rusher in Floyd, very disruptive interior guys in Hakeem and Eddie, and then backed up by very solid inside linebackers and a great back end. You're just adding a chip to a pretty good group already. So he's the kind of guy you have to account for. Very disruptive, great motor. He's been doing it for a number of years now at a high level. He's a Pro Bowl player every single year. He's an All-Pro player, and he's one of those guys who you have to account for.
Back to Spock's question. I'll exaggerate to make a point. You have no idea what they're going to do with defensively, and the vice versa. Is there any advantage to such a situation where there is kind of a battle of the unknowns?
Well, that's the beauty of the first weeks of the season. There's so many unscouted looks. What film are they watching of us? They watching last year. They watching Tennessee film. Same with us. Do we watch film of Pagano when he was a head coach, or Bears last year? That's the beauty in this, is there's going to be a lot of unscouted looks, and that's why it comes down to trusting your training. It's not looks you would see in the preseason, and I'm going to reiterate that fact. We're not going down to preseason and seeing, oh man, I bet Chicago's going to do this in the first game. No, this is unscouted looks, 30 to 40% of the time in this game from both sides, and it's going to come down to the execution of the fundamentals and trusting the experience, in the midst of the tough environment.
Mike used to always talk about unscouted looks of yours going into these first few games, but it was still largely the same offense. Are you excited, or whatever it might be, to unveil a completely different offense? Like, you have not run really, truly unscouted looks that much in the last several years, correct? And what kind of excitement level does that create to have something ready?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody needs to understand that this is going to be the first kind of iteration of our offense, and because it is a new scheme and there are new pieces, this is going to grow from this point. I'm excited about the stuff that we have the stuff we've been working on in camp, and there's going to be even more. So I think that's the exciting part. Is I like the foundational start for this offense. I think it could be very tough to stop because of the stress it puts on defenses with their eye control and pattern reading and reading the alignments. But we have a lot of room to grow from what we put on the field on Thursday.
Aaron, I know you've had success against obviously every team in the league, but in Chicago, you're known as a bear killer. I'm curious, given the context and the history of this rivalry, how much does that mean to you just to have that kind of standing?
To be hated?
To be, well, respected too.
I have a lot of respect for the city of Chicago and their fans. I grew up a fan of Michael Jordan, so and one of the channels we had on our 10 channel TV was WGN. So we got the Cubs games as well. So I grew up watching some Chicago sports. Was a fan of Brett Favre and had an appreciation for the rivalry. Obviously, playing in it takes on a whole life of its own because you realize how special it is, not just to the players, but even more to the fans who've seen years and decades of this rivalry. And there is, a hatred, I think, on both sides between the fans. We've had some great moments down there and some fun games, some big games. Obviously, the NFC Championship, 2013 was a fun one. The relax, I think, started down there. James Jones coming back. And we had some tough ones as well. 2010 we went down there on a Monday night, I believe, and got beat. We had like 16 penalties that game, and that was a tough one. Obviously, last year, they stuffed us pretty good. So it's been some great games over the years. Again, I have a lot of respect for their fans. They know when to cheer. They're loud. It's a tough environment. They, have a lot of, really good trash talk on the sideline. But we've also won in that place before, and you take that confidence with you.
Outside the locker room here is this collection of greatest games in franchise history. The latest edition is the opener here last year against the Bears. Historic fourth quarter for the franchise. What made the difference in that game for you and your team?
I just think a belief, belief we could do that. When I came back on the field there at halftime, I think everybody kind of started to believe a little bit. The ovation was loud, and although we were down 17-0 and 20-0 when I took the field, I think everybody had that belief. And on the other side, up 17-0 going into half, kind of feeling like, we can coast maybe to the finish here. We just chipped away. We got a field goal and then got a touchdown early in the fourth and put together another drive. Our defense stopped them there on their long drive, held them to a field goal, and then I hit Cobby and had a great catch and run for a touchdown, then we held them. So that was an exciting game, one that, ranks up there for me in all-time games and best experiences on the field. This has been a great rivalry, and I think it's picked up. Over the years, there's been some seesawing from time to time on what the bigger rivalry is when Minnesota was rolling, and Chicago wasn't where it was now. Minnesota and us and still do have a great rivalry, but I think Chicago, with the way they've been playing and how much it means to our fans, that rivalry is right where it needs to be for our fans, for their fans, and for the NFL.
And where are you just at right now, just physically and mentally going into this new year, me personally?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel really good. My body feels good. I'd say I'm happy. I really am. I'm enjoying this team a lot. I'm enjoying coming to work. I enjoy the atmosphere of the locker room. I love the additions that we've made to this team. Not just the big name ones, the Smiths and Adrian, but a guy like Billy Turner. I know I brought him up a bunch, but he brings such a fun energy to the group. I really enjoy the young players, seeing their personalities come out, whether it's Bobby Tanyan or both the backs, or Danny Vitale or Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or Jake. Just seeing these guys kind of come into their own personality-wise just makes it a lot of fun. And to be 35 in my 15th season, to still be called upon to be at my best every week and to lead the football team, what else could you ask for your job? And I'm just happy to be here and to still be feeling good and to have a chance to lead this squad.
What do you expect from HaHa?
Probably try and give away some of the secrets I told him in our across the hall meetings the last couple of years. I have a ton of respect for HaHa. I enjoyed playing with him. We always had really interesting football conversations. He's a student of the game. As most guys who've been to Alabama, they really understand the ins and outs of the game. They're tough players. They're fun to be around, and Haas no different. You know, he was just a lot of fun to be in a locker room with, to go to battle with, and I'm sure, you know, he's talking about different things with my, you know, eye control or eye movement or pocket movement or things they like to do, but it'd be fun to play against him.
Aaron, you said back in April, I don't even know if you cracked open the playbook much yet, but you used the phrase "no grace period" with learning this offense. Obviously, you just said the offense is going to grow from where it will be on Thursday night, but is it still your expectation that this offense hits the ground running, so to speak, week one?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so new, you know, it's so different than what we've done in the past. I think it will be it'll be fun to kind of lay it out there on Thursday and work through the stuff that we've been working so hard on in practice, and you know, make teams, you know, that when they play in Green Bay, it's not just what they've seen for years, which is was tough to stop, and now we're throwing different things at them with personnel groupings and motions and alignments and movement and adjustments that they haven't seen from us. So I'm excited about the opportunity, and you know, I'm obviously really hopeful we're going to go out and play really well, but you know, I do really feel like this is just the beginning for this offense, and there'll be a lot of room to go regardless of our performance on Thursday, which from myself and our squad, I expect us to play really well. But I think there's going to be a lot of room for growth within the scheme as we get on in this season.
So, I just love my team. Yeah, that's the team with them big G's on the helmet.